Hello and welcome to the sports show with Bob Spino. The apocalypse is upon us, Bob. What the hell is going on in the landscape of collegiate athletics?
I don't know. I got a text message from my brother yesterday, and eventually he called me. That's how uppity he is. UCLA's out of the Pac-12 in, I think, 2024 with USC. Is it going to help our football team? No. But is it going to help SCs? It wouldn't have. But since SC got this guy from Oklahoma and all these blue chippers, they're going to be back in the elite stage, and UCLA is going to be on the bottom. And basketball, on the other hand, yeah, because more people from the East, are going to see us more, and the writers, and we're UCLA. We got the best player coming in. That was LeBron's son's teammate, not LeBron's son. He's dropping like a rock. He's number 60 now on the chart for best players. But no, we're just going to get more players. It's going to hurt teams like Michigan, SC, Ohio State. We're there now. They ain't going to get better than us in basketball. Football, yeah, basketball, no. But you know what? It's going to kill the Pac-12. The only one left pretty much is Oregon out there. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's back to the Pac-10. I could say that again. I couldn't say that for a couple of years,
Well, I'm of the opinion that the life of the Pac-10 is on life support. And
yeah,
this is really still part of the beginning. If you consider that, consider the real beginning, in my opinion, going back to 2003 when the ACC expanded from the Big East, that was a big move. The formation of the Big East earlier, and that was one of those monumental shifts. And then the landscape changed again 10 years ago. ACC made more moves again. You had Nebraska go to the Big Ten. And now we're seeing another landslide shift that I think will create the biggest changes in the landscape. How many major conferences are there going to be? Are we going to be left with two mega conferences?
Well, I think my brother said this a few years ago, and I agree. Like the big conferences just sucking up the small ones. And now basically, every year you can get paid for bringing players in, which is, definitely going to help the richer schools and the better schools. Now it's legal. Years ago, it wasn't. They did it, but it wasn't. And, my brother said if they want mega conferences, yeah, that's what it is. I mean, there's going to be no more small conferences. I just read that, Alabama? Not Alabama, Texas. They're going to the SEC with another school. I think
with Oklahoma.
Am I right?
That move was made a while back now.
Well,
and so Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC. This is the counter. This is the counter move. Remember, the Pac-12 was the one that got that alliance going between the Big Ten and the ACC. Right. So this is a direct power counter move against the SEC.
Right. I mean, that's what it's boiling down to. I mean, every school is going to be under one banner or two banners, pretty much.
Well, now we're left to speculate, Bob, because what do you see? What's going to happen to all the other conferences? What's going to happen to the leftovers of the Big 12, the Pac-10, and what's going to happen to the ACC? I mean, they're still standing. Are we going to end up with four conferences, two? What's going to happen with the G5? I mean, there's so many things that are open to change now that, I mean, it's just speculation.
Well, I said to my brother on the phone yesterday, there are no more. The rule is there's no more rules. I mean, anything can go now. So, I know there's weaker conferences, but I think a lot of them are going to want to jump ship because that's where the money is. They want to go, and they're going to try to get into the bigger conferences to get a share of that dough. So I don't know. This could collapse. It could collapse.
Do you envision a scenario where maybe the remaining Pac-12, Big 12, and the ACC teams do something?
You mean like become their own conference?
Maybe they become the third super conference, or maybe they create two counterbalancing conferences, East and West conference.
I'll tell you what, if I'm the little ones, I would consider doing it because they're just going to get sucked up in the bigger.
Yeah, because if this goes unabated, Bob, you're looking at maybe two conferences with like 32 teams each,
right? Broken
into subdivisions. I mean, it's going to be like north-south.
Right. But you know what though? It's worked in other sports. I mean, for years there was only American and the National League, and baseball was the biggest sport in the history of the country. So I mean, it can work, I guess, but you'd have to. It's going to take a while for that field to grow because they're going to have to get together, find the money, get the fan base, get people to come out. I don't know. It's going to take a while.
I think if we start to see a continuation of this vacuum taking place, if the Big Ten sucking in teams and SEC doing the same, if the Big Ten and SEC continue to both expand, then we are marching towards the two mega conferences. If you see moves being made from the other conferences, the Pac-12, Big Ten, ACC, to kind of counter this, then maybe there will be something else besides that.
Right. I mean, it just depends how it goes. It depends how the other teams, other colleges react. And
what do you? Okay, you're the Utah AD, Bob. You're the athletic director of Utah. You made that move to the Pac-10 a couple years back, and it got you in the P5. And now you're left with musical chairs again. What do you do?
Well, right. I mean, they wanted to get, nationally known, so they have a chance for a big bowl. I mean, maybe even if you're good enough to, the playoff games. You know what? I would try to probably latch on to another conference if they're that determined to want to do that. I think other colleges that don't think they have a chance might want to start their own little new conference, but I don't know.
Do you have any indication of advanced knowledge of these moves? Was this something people were aware of? Was it open, or was it just totally behind closed doors and then?
No, well, you know what? I said my brother did. He told me, he goes, Bob, they're trying to make super conferences now. They want every team to play in a bowl game. So the best way to do that is probably all become one, So and just give them a new bowl to play in or a new town to play.
So you are you pointing out to a singular mega conference with like subdivisions, just one conference?
Yeah, it could be, because like I said, under one banner, and the banner is college football, NCAA football.
So maybe are we looking at potentially a situation where divisions are laid out and then the champions of those divisions face each other for that mega conference, title?
Sure. Well, you know what? Yeah, because I mean, like when it was under one banner in baseball, it was only two teams in the American and National League. But with this, yeah, because we're in a world where they want to have playoffs even if you stink. So, I mean, yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to set up brackets. They're going to, if you beat them, boom, you win. Sure. And it's only one game. It's not like a playoff series. So, yeah.
So are you of the opinion that this is going to be not a distinct separation, that Big Ten, ACC, SEC, it's all going to kind of commingle?
I think the names won't.
Like, you'll see things like Clemson play Michigan, and you'll see USC play Oklahoma. I mean, are we going to just have this mishmash, of Big Ten versus SEC under the guise of a singular landscape? I mean,
yeah, it'll be a singular landscape. Will they give up their personal SEC name? No. The conference name? No. Will it still be? Look,
that's what I'm saying. It's going to you're going to still see Southeast Conference. You're still going to see big or whatever they call themselves.
But it'll be okay. I think what it'll be like. We think about the Big Ten, right? Why do they still call it that? Because there's not 10 anymore.
Yeah, it's just the record. Just everyone knows is Big Ten.
It's Big Ten. Now it's.
I have been referring to the Pac-12 as the Pac-12 for some reason, but I always call the Big Ten the Big Ten.
Right. Because there was only a certain amount. But you know what? Now there's actually, once UCLA and SC join, it's going to be Big 16. Are they going to call it that? No. But you know what? They're just going to suck people in. Rob, you know what it's like? It's like for years, the little towns had your own shops that you can go to. So, but then when the malls came in, it drove a lot of those people out of business, and they either moved into those malls or died. And that's kind of what you're getting here. I mean, a lot of these schools that want to win or whatever, make a lot of money, they're gonna willingly go. And I think, yeah, are they going to call a different conference? Yeah. Well, technically baseball's mishmash now, but they still have two different leagues. Technically.
So do you see the leftovers of the Pac-12, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC conference? Do you think they're going to abandon the effort to have their own thing and just join the Big Ten and SEC?
Um, well, that'd be kind of tough for the fans out there. But I can see a lot more of the teams defecting. If they're really the other bad teams, they just might want to band together and say, hey, you know what? There are bad, conferences no one cares about. But to me, it's all about money, Rob. So they're probably going to abandon the ship and beg the NCAA, can we still keep the name? But kind of get sucked in at the same time under one banner.
Oh, I know, Bob. If I'm the ACC bigwigs, I'm getting Notre Dame, West Virginia, and Cincinnati on the horn, because I think if you could just convince Notre Dame to get on board with the ACC, it could stick around. It will stay.
Well, you can never.
If Notre Dame joins the ACC will remain.
Yeah, in the ACC,
and West Virginia and Cincinnati would be, they're good programs,
right? But good luck getting Notre Dame in. That's like
that's the thing. I mean,
they're independent. They don't want to go nowhere.
Yeah, but Bob, I think they're not going to have a choice. How are you going to be left out of this new landscape that's forming? They're not. I mean, they've been given invites to the playoff for a couple of times, but I think access is going to get denied if this continues on for them.
One thing they have in their favor is their history. They're Notre Dame, and they feel they can be independent. But you know what?
But Bob, they just got poached. Notre Dame got poached by LSU.
Right.
I don't know. It's not that we're in a new era. I don't know if Notre Dame can survive on its own outside the mega conference.
Whatever they have left, they're living on their past. There's no doubt.
Yeah, they're living on their past.
They are. But because of it, they're almost to a pompous stage where they're like, we don't need it. We're Notre Dame. But you're right, though. It's nothing's the same, and it hasn't been for a while.
Honestly, I don't think Notre Dame fits better in a Northeast Big East style conference. I don't see Notre Dame doing well in the Big Ten, even though they're in Indiana. They're a medium-sized private school. They're closer related to schools like Wake Forest, Duke, Syracuse, BC. The private schools. These big giant state schools. That's not Notre Dame. So I think again, it's gonna, like most ACC folks have been saying, the future of the ACC is coming down to Notre Dame again.
Right. Well, I mean, what do you think they'll end up doing, Rob?
If it were me, I hope they do this. I hope they're not just going to seek to capitulate to the two conference scenario. I hope there's a fight that takes place between the remaining schools. I mean, the ACC is still intact. They haven't been poached. We have our 15 teams. If you can bump that to 18 with Notre Dame, West Virginia, Cincy, you're a player. Period. And if I'm the ACC, I'm considering all options to remain a viable conference on its own. So that's talking to Big 12 leftovers. That's talking to Pac-12 leftovers. Because if the ACC stands idly while these changes occur, then eventually the member schools will jump ship to one of those two conferences.
Right. I don't know what Notre Dame's going to do. I
don't know. We know what they're going to do, Bob. They're going to do everything they can to remain independent.
That's right.
They will hold out as long as humanly possible.
I was going to say, that's my gut feeling. I don't think they're going to bend because they're Notre Dame. They're big on where they stand. So they don't want to join a conference. They never did. So, I mean, and they think that they can still pull it. I mean, can they?
If I'm an ACC, Big 12, or Pac-12 school presently, in my opinion, I think it's in all of our best interest to get two more super conferences in place so that there's 4 super conferences, 64 teams, and that the conglomeration of that makes up the playoffs. I think that needs to happen. If that doesn't happen, some schools that are within those conferences could be in trouble. I just don't know if they'll all get in.
Right. I mean, it's anybody's guess, but losing those are the two big names in the Pac-12. I really don't.
Yeah, that is look, Bob, the Pac-12 literally lost their equivalent of losing like Alabama and Florida, or Alabama and LSU.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 cannot survive without USC and UCLA.
Who's been great in both sports, really. Oregon's
been great. Absolutely.
Right.
But they can't make up the difference for the loss of USC and UCLA.
Well, think about it. Like we always complain we don't get enough press anyway because we're West Coast and nobody sees us. All the reporters go to bed when we're playing. But
Yeah.
and from that perspective, I think SC and UCLA are going to like it for the fact that we're going to get.
Oh,
more
I think
press.
it was a brilliant move on their parts. They want to they want to stay at the top of the echelon, and it was a smart move. That look, Bob, did you ever dream that USC and UCLA would go to the Big Ten?
No, and what my brother said the other day was interesting because he goes, "Can you imagine one of them winning it? They'll go to the Rose Bowl and represent the other side." What the heck is that? Because if for people who don't know, when I was growing up, it was who played the Rose Bowl was the Pac 8, 10, 12, whatever it was through the years against the Big Ten. That was the two of them, whoever won the conferences. So, but now UCLA could actually represent the Big Ten, which is so messed up. It's almost like a slap in their own state's face.
I think it's going to be good for USC and UCLA. I think they're both going to do well. I do.
Right.
I put them ahead of in football. I put them ahead of a lot of the conference.
Yeah, because the one thing about the Big Ten, and even when they only had 10, there was a lot of weak 10s. I mean, we used to say the Big Two and the Little Eight. Yeah, for years we would say that. It was Michigan and Ohio State and then everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
For the most part, that's kind of holding on. Michigan State, D'Antonio. I mean, they had a good season. I don't know if that's going to hold, but Indiana, everyone loves their coach. They don't. What are they doing? Illinois, nothing.
Yeah.
Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald's done well, but he's they're in the middle of the pack now. 6-6, that kind of thing. Even though he's had success. Rutgers, Maryland's has no chance of winning the Big Ten. UCLA is ahead of them.
Oh, so I guess that means Rutgers is in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah, Rutgers is in the Big Ten, as is Maryland.
Well, that means UCLA becoming in New Jersey to play.
So honestly, I would go back. Yeah. I would go back to Maryland. I'd be like, Maryland, you want to come home? Get this. If ACC can bring Maryland back, that's 16 teams, but that'll probably not happen.
Right. Now, what conference are you in, Ron?
Syracuse is in the ACC.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to see the ACC survive.
Right.
But if it can't, then I want to see Syracuse go to the Big Ten.
You want to go in there?
Syracuse has to be at the big boy table, period.
Right.
And for all you out there that think we just suck and we don't deserve it, go look up how many NFL Hall of Famers played for Syracuse football.
Oh, no, tons did. No, they're
and we're still
represented.
We might be still in the top 20 all-time winningest programs, despite the last 20 years.
Right.
So, and we have support from the state. We're spending another $150 million on the dome. We're going to be sitting at the big boy table, even if some SEC homer don't think so. It's just going to be a matter: is it going to be the Big Ten or the ACC? I personally would like the ACC. It's a better fit, in my opinion. We need to be playing schools like Boston College, Pittsburgh, West Virginia if they came. School Miami. Another private school. These are the schools where Virginia Tech. Say again.
Would you want to play Bama though?
We're the New York school, Bob. We don't belong in the SEC.
Right.
If we're gonna join one of the two mega conferences, it's definitely gonna be the Big Ten version.
Right.
We'd be like the Big Ten East, playing against like Penn State, Notre Dame, and
so that means we'd be playing you every year.
Yeah, we'd be able to go to the games, Bob.
That's right. We'd be able to go to the games.
So I think it's pretty obvious. This stuff excites me to no end. Because there's so much uncertainty and we don't know how it's going to shake out.
Right. And there's a lot of stuff going on this week, by the way. It's not just that.
Yeah, it seems to be a bunch of stories.
Oh, there's tons. For one, I finally saw, we'll hit baseball first. I finally saw all the elite teams. And I can tell you that the Mets don't get a couple more hitters. And I'm going to try to message the owner on Twitter because I can. They need, I know for a fact Mike Trout's going to be up, okay, next in a month, and the Mets need to try to get him. And I don't care what they got to give to get him because they need power hitting and they need it now. Learn, Mets, because when you got Cespedes in July, you went to the World Series a few years back. That's what you need. You also need to get one more power hitter. I would get a DH. I would try to get Nelson Cruz because Washington's ready to dump him. You cannot stay with the Yanks. I've seen the Yanks. I went to the games. They crush you. Although I must admit, I did go to a no-hitter. I did go to the Astros game when they got no hit, which I absolutely loved. But, Dusty Baker almost blew it. He almost blew it. In the 8th inning, he took the pitcher out, which he should not have done. It was a combined no-hitter. I don't like that. The guy did give up 2 walks, and the next 2 guys hit the ball to the fence, right to the fence. And it was caught. But the no-hitter was, they got through it. And then after that, I saw I saw all the big hitting teams. I saw the Dodgers. I saw the Yanks. I've seen Houston. Houston can beat them. They should have won all 4 games. But that's Yankee luck. The first night, Houston takes a 3-0 lead. Yankees tied it with 2 hits. They don't get another hit to the 9th inning. Rob, they're down 6-3. They pull the game. They hit a 3-run homer. They had 6 runs on only 3 hits. Only the Yankees can pull that. Then they get 2 more hits and win the game. Unbelievable. But they should have lost it. And then they should have lost the other game because they were being no hit through 7 innings. But the Astros aren't afraid of them. They beat them again last night, 2-1. They're really good. They could use one more power hitter. For anybody that didn't hear when Rob and I were talking before, I did get on the field. I actually got the Mets guy's phone number, so I can get on the field whenever I want now. He got me on. I took pictures with Dusty Baker. I'll put that up. And I saw some of the Astros. I took some of the. One of the guys got a hit, and they gave him go. You got a hit because I took a picture with him. And my friend was like laughing. But no, it's the only way to beat them. It's about power hitting, and all you dumb Yankee fans out there that think otherwise are, guess what, dumb Yankee fans. It's all about the home runs. It's Babe Ruth. It's on down. And if you can do it, you can win. Are you going to win every year? No, but don't be a pompous little baby. You're not supposed to. There's other teams trying to beat you. You're not entitled. But 27 times, that seems to be the right formula. I mean, if a baby had 2 formulas and one sucked tasting and the other one was good, he's drinking the one that's good, even if it don't fill him up every day. Yeah, that's what I thought. It works. And, I got a lot of Dodger stuff to tell you because I talked to my brother. They're going to get rid of half the team next year. They're not going to re-sign them. And they're going to make a hard push for Aaron Judge. You heard it first year. They want him. They're not going to resign Bellinger. They're not going to resign Kershaw. The 2 Turners are going to be gone. Max Muncy, they want to dump. They're going to retool, and they're going to retool with the Yankee players, which I love because Yankee fans enjoy this. It's short-lived. You lucked out one more year. You guys are older. Once Judge leaves, it's over. And also I'd like to talk about your team and mine, the Nets. We beat them so much they could become our whipping boys. I love those boys. No, really. Who needs a slave when you have the Nets? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But the other day, my friend calls me up out of nowhere, and he's a real pest. He just likes to annoy me. He only calls me when the Nets are winning. And he knows I'm a Celtics fan. He rooted against my team the whole time. He made excuses. Oh, I like that player on the other team. No, you just hate me, and you hate the Celtics. That's it. So we fleeced him pretty bad, but Danny Ainge wasn't smart enough. He didn't get the center, okay? So I kept telling him, when Kyrie leaves, KD's going to want out. So what happens? He doesn't call me for a while. He sends me a message. Oh, Kyrie's staying. And I go, that doesn't mean he's not going to leave. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, he may just want to sign and trade. The Nets couldn't find nobody to sign and trade with, but the Lakers are pushing hard. They're looking for a third team to get involved. And I told him, I go, just because he's signing back doesn't mean, that you're set. Don't be too surprised if they don't trade him anyway. And he didn't buy it. He goes, you guys suck. You're this, you're that. You ain't never getting him, blah, blah, blah. You're not getting Durant. And I go, once Kyrie goes, Durant's going too. And I told him that. So 7 minutes after he hangs up yesterday, the news comes across. Bye-bye, Nets, Kevin Durant. I'm calling Brad Stevens, leaving a message saying this is what you should do. Because all the fans are stupid. They're like, we got to trade Jalen Brown. No, you don't. Because Red Auerbach never did that. Joe Barry Carroll for Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale. Who the hell is Joe Barry Carroll? He sounds like the guy that owns the grocery store down the street. Where'd you get the meat? Oh, I bought it at Joe Barry Carroll's. Good stuff. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think Kevin Durant, you guys would be I think significant favorites if he went to the Celtics. I think he would fit in well there.
We win. And
The Nets are just a joke of a
going,
franchise. I mean, let's be honest. It's not a well-run franchise. Celtics are well-run, and
that's
KD
right.
could really thrive in a well-run organization.
You know what somebody put on Twitter? The Nets haven't won since Dr. J still had a fro.
They need to just scrap that whole thing. The Nets, the Barclays, all of it.
That's exactly why. Like the people on Twitter were going, "We're going to trade Jaylen Brown." No way. I go, we don't got to trade Jaylen Brown.
Just turn it into a concert hall and leave it at that. I mean, it's not working.
Just send out as many players as you can, because then I'd get rid of Marcus Smart, because you know what? We can always get another guard, and he's not a good point guard. You know what? And I would package him, Theus, Horford, because he's old. Theus is a backup center, and just give as many players as the Nets want. Trade half the lousy half of the bench, like they did when they got Kevin Garnett. We don't need to get rid of our stars, and we'll just keep the stars and get people around them, because it's always easier to get the people around them. It's hard to get the stars. Red Auerbach used to do it. There's always suckers born, and I would sell the Nets on this guy's leading the league in team defense. He won the Defensive Player of the Year. And he's a point guard. What a perfect way to rebuild. I'd do it, Nets, if I were you. And you know what? And the Nets are you know what the best part is? Now Kyrie does want it. He's saying, you know what, Rob? You know why the Nets didn't want to give him the long term? I found out. They were afraid, because he kept saying, I'm going to retire after I'm 30. He just turned 30. Can you imagine them giving him a 7-year? After 2 years in, he's like, I quit. You got to pay me. And it's something like he would do, because you never know what he's going to do next. And the Nets are scared of that. Then you want to give him a short amount of a contract. He wanted 7 or 8, and that's where like 3 or 4. Then they're like, screw it. We're not going to do that either. You know what? He's out. And who's in? Ben Simmons. Because let me tell you, he's definitely out, because Ben is a little out there and Kyrie's a little out there. Can you imagine those two on the team? And they start losing, they'll be fist fighting for real every night in the locker room after the game. No, it's over. The Nets, we need to finish what Danny Ainge did and get the center. He should have.
Yeah, the Nets last season when the Bucks won was their chance.
Right. That was the year when he put his foot on the line, when he took the 3 and it was a 2. Mm-hmm. But even with that being said, they still could have won that game and went overtime, Rob. And they were home and they didn't win it. They did not win it. So, you know what? There's something about that team. They're a choke. I
actually like the Nets colors, though. Black and white. You can't beat it.
I actually liked it when they were the Dodger blue. Every once in a while, they were Dodger blue. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like those too. I like the Nets uniforms. They look good. I can't do it. The franchise just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
And you know what? The new owner isn't spending money, because the Russian guy sold it. That new owner's losing stock money.
Oh, that place that thing will tank quick.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice building with nobody in it. Right.
Paying
and
tax
you guys
money.
Are out, right? The Islanders are out, right?
Islanders thankfully are out, and they have their new home where they belong on. Well, technically Brooklyn is part of Long Island geographically, but they're on the municipal Long Island at Belmont, the complex, hooked up with the train. Beautiful complex with the racetrack. They didn't do well this year, obviously. It wasn't a good opening season.
Down and just build a new one, or
no? They renovated actually the Coliseum. I mean, they could have stayed, honestly, but
right.
I think the Belmont's a good long-term deal for them. It's nice. They just need to. Right? I don't like that how they fired Trotz. I don't like that. I think they just need to work on the roster. The coach was fine, and hopefully they don't, fall back for a while because of this move.
Right. I was there. You know what? Actually, they had a trivia question about the Coliseum the other night.
When the Nets played there?
No, it was a music trivia. What place in Long Island is built? What sports arena is Billy Joel's name retired on top? And I knew right away it had to be the Coliseum. And that's exactly what it was. I saw him perform there when I was a kid. And I saw the Islanders play there when I was a kid. I liked it, actually. So you're out of Brooklyn. That's good. You know what? It didn't work for you there, Rob.
Yeah, it didn't. They once they got out of Brooklyn and played in the Coliseum, winning happened, and like it typically does there.
Right.
It typically you win more when you play where you belong.
That's right.
Right.
UCLA knows that because they started winning when they went to Pasadena.
Exactly.
That wasn't, the Coliseum wasn't their home. It was SC's.
It wasn't. So,
No, right.
yeah.
No.
So I think it's very important to really, really make your home where you play your games at home.
Your home, your
Otherwise,
castle.
you're going to lose. Like the Jets. What stadium did the Jets play in forever? Giant Stadium, right?
Well, originally Shea.
Originally
That was
Shea,
their
yeah.
home.
But I mean, they were in Giant Stadium for a long time.
Right. And the Giants treated them like crap, too.
Treated them like crap, and they sucked.
They were actually homeless for a while. The Jets, they wanted to move to the west side of New York.
The Jets
like,
belong in like
it's like,
Queens, Long Island.
no.
The Jets don't belong in playing with the Giants. I hate
No.
that. I never liked MetLife. I never liked it. I never liked having teams of New York play in New Jersey. It's either look, you play in New Jersey, you're a New Jersey
like
team.
It, we're closer, but yeah.
Well, I mean, to me, it's like a complete. You're kind of getting crapped on, Bob, because they're wearing New York labels. They're playing in your state. They should be New Jersey Jets and New Jersey Giants. I mean, they play in New Jersey.
You know what? For 1 year, this is true, Rob. When they first moved here, they were called the New Jersey Giants. New York got mad and sued them and won the name back. They actually changed their name to the New Jersey Giants.
That's a fascinating bit of information, Bob.
That is true. They took them to court and won the case.
So that's why they were going to follow where they live, but then you will wear NY no matter where you go.
people don't even remember that, but that's true actually.
Yeah, I just assumed it was literally just to we're just keep New York name, just keep the name.
Right? No, they didn't.
I didn't realize they got literally legally forced to do so.
They were forced back. The Giants decided when they moved, we're going to call ourselves New Jersey Giants. And New York said, and took them to court. So, and they won the case. So,
sounds like New Jersey didn't step up to back them. They let New York run over them.
I think maybe that's why the Statue of Liberty doesn't face us. We get her back end. She faces out.
Who knows? But anyways, there is something to be said for, you need to play at home where you belong. You play your games where you belong. It's like if Boston College, it's like UMass. UMass keeps playing their games at Gillette Stadium and they get blown out and they lose. And it's just, no one goes, just give yourself a nice 40,000 stadium in Amherst or something. Like you're wasting all that money to play in Gillette in front of 200 people.
Right.
That's not your home. Amherst is your home.
Right. And you know what? I mean, even the Giants, when they went to Connecticut for a while before there was a Meadowlands, after they left Yankee Stadium, they sucked up there. But they did. They played in the Yale Bowl. They played at Yale.
Yeah, the Yale Bowl. Yeah, that's still an active stadium, Bob. 130 years later.
Right. But they actually played there. It was funny because there was like wooden picket fences, like down by the end zone. It was, as small time as you can get. But I mean, that's, but you're right, Rob. I mean, that's what they have to play. Oh, congratulations. I guess we got to say that, right? We got to say congratulations to the Avalanche. I told you offense,
the Avalanche
Rob.
And their offense prevailed in the series, Bob. Congratulations on a successful pick.
Yeah. I wasn't on board with you guys on that because I just wasn't on board.
Look, Bob, eventually Tampa just ran out of lives. They used up all their lives escaping that first round against Toronto. They made the great comeback against the Rangers. You can't you can't keep creating such big holes and expect to climb out of them every time.
No, you can't. And you know what? It's hard to look. It's hard to win 2 times. It's hard to win once, let alone 2, let alone 3. So I mean, and that's what makes it so great about what the Islanders did, what Edmonton did, what Montreal did before them all. I mean, you can't. These people today, they're like, oh, we could do that. Oh, we played nobody. Yeah, you're so great. How come you can't win 2 in a row? You ain't that great. That's why. It's really hard to do in every sport, not just hockey.
When's the last back-to-back NCAA basketball champ? Florida?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That was, look how long ago that was.
Yes, 16, they beat us.
15, 16 years ago.
Yeah. They beat UCLA. But it's not easy.
Even Alabama doesn't win back-to-back so much.
Well, they stack it, though. See, the one thing with them, they just refuel every year.
Yeah,
And
they're just
when
a
you're
behemoth.
the best team, you have the best chance. You know what's going to be good about this, Ron? This conference thing. There's going to be less garbage games during the season because you're just going to
Yeah,
be
you're
playing
not
better
going to be
teams.
able to schedule Cal Poly anymore.
Yeah,
UCLA.
Norfolk State 77-0. Nebraska crushes. You know,
Yeah.
that's what
Those
happens
days,
now.
those are done. You're not, and that's a concern because those programs, that one game that Norfolk State played,
They made a lot
got
of
blown out
money.
77. That paid for their entire budget for the year.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so if these smaller programs aren't going to have access to those big paychecks,
Right.
you could be seeing a massive wave of programs dropping.
Oh, okay. I got a text from my friend.
We got like I don't know, like last year Syracuse had Albany come to the Dome. They had them like $1 million or something, whatever it is, and that supports their program, other programs. And if it's literally going to be a major program versus a major program every week on the schedule, I don't see how some of these FCS on down teams, even the lower FBS teams, are going to be able to sustain. Is Rice going to be able to continue to field a Division I football team?
A lot of them could collapse, Rob. They almost have to go into that's where the money is now. So they're going to have to.
I'm glad Rice keeps playing. I'm glad they keep trotting a team out there, but they put the 40 people go to the games. Right. How many students go to Rice? What's the enrollment? Rice 1,500, tiny, right?
Yeah.
But that's good on them for keep putting a team out there. I love it. They're a private school, but where are they going to be in this landscape shift?
In big trouble.
Big trouble. Yeah, there's only Rice University has an enrollment of 7,300.
You know what?
Baylor's got 21,000.
I'm telling my friend my friend just sent me two things.
Oh, and Duke is actually bigger than I thought. But anyway.
The football team, Duke they're gonna get crushed like those teams.
Oh, I meant the enrollment. Duke's enrollment's higher than I thought they were a smaller school. But Duke Coach Cutcliffe had a great run with them. Cutcliffe made Duke football the best it could really possibly be, in my opinion. They had that nice win over Notre Dame. They went to that bowl game against Johnny Manziel. But now Duke is regression to the mean is a thing. Duke is not a football program. And, they're losing again. And Cutcliffe is getting older. I don't think he has his recruiting chops. And they're just going to be bad.
Yeah. Like, you know what? I can't see. You're right, Rob. They're not going to be able to play those games. They're not going to make money. That's where they made their money. The little college.
Yeah, I think Cutcliffe can still coach. I just
they're going to have to do what the shops
anymore. They can't recruit, and they don't have the clout in football.
No, they're just going to have to bend and go in with the biggies. That's what I think. They're going to have to do it. It'd be financial suicide not to do it. They'll get killed.
The problem is when you have these medium to small size private schools like Duke, like Syracuse, Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, et cetera, and so forth. Can they survive in a 2 conference landscape? I don't know. Maybe teams like USC, Notre Dame, like the pinnacle teams of the private schools. Yeah.
My brother sent me the text yesterday.
Vanderbilt gets the benefit. Vanderbilt and Northwestern have the benefit of being just in the conferences already.
Well, yeah, the ones that are in, they're fine. But you know what? It's the ones that aren't. I want to see what Oregon wants to do, and Washington, and the Cows. I don't know what the Cows.
Or you could go. I don't know. You could do something absolutely
good.
Crazy, Bob, and do the Coastal Conference, Pac-12, ACC.
Yeah, Pacific Coast Conference.
Literally like the Pacific Atlantic Coast Conference, like the railroads connecting. Or you call it the Union Pacific Conference. I'm just saying the Coastal Conference, the Cross-Coastal Conference, something like that. I really just
Transcontinental.
That's what I'm saying. I hope that moves are made to counteract this move. Yeah. If it ends up being, I'm going to be disappointed if it's just the NFC and AFC college.
Right.
I will. But if there's 4 super conferences, it could get interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look. You know what? I think that some will not bend, that they won't want to bend, but I think others will have to bend.
Hands are going to be forced.
It might be the Pac. It could be from the Pac-12 to the Pac-4. Some of them could leave, some could stay. But if the 4 stay, say the 4
Or
stay.
what if the Pac-12 and Big 12 just say we're joining forces, the leftovers?
They're going to have to, right.
Like, that's pretty likely. I mean, that's
right.
probably more likely than the ACC.
It can't be 4 or 5.
You're probably going to have 4 super conferences, east, west, north, south, east, west, north, south.
Right. I can't see, right. It's definitely going to, everything is total mess. Like, it's a total mess. So, I mean,
because even though you're not having juggernauts like USC, UCLA, Texas, Oklahoma, there's still big juggernauts out there. University of Arizona, juggernaut. Arizona State is a juggernaut. Oregon, like you said. Clemson is still out there as a football program. Don't forget UNC. UNC is a major juggernaut in NCAA athletics. Big money, big time.
Now,
those juggernauts are going to find themselves in places at the big boy table somewhere.
I think, you know what I think is interesting? Stanford is actually a pretty good school.
Watch out for UNC. If UNC and UVA go to the Big Ten, it's over, Bob.
Yeah. Wow.
No, it's over.
Why do you say that?
Because I think there is a scenario where you could see, like, I think UNC and UVA have dabbled in considering, the Big Ten because the AAU status, public research grant status is available at the Big Ten. It would not shock me to see the next move be UNC and UVA to the Big Ten. And then the ACC collapses, and then you're looking at probably the 2 conference system.
And you know what? The ACC in football can easily collapse because it really hasn't been. It's only ever 1 team or 2 teams. But in basketball, the ACC is a powerhouse. So what would that mean for them?
I would say you're wrong about that. The ACC Atlantic Division is extremely, extremely tough.
I'm not buying that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Like,
I'm telling you right now, UCLA ain't winning the Atlantic.
We couldn't win the Atlantic?
UCLA cannot win the Atlantic Division.
Why?
If you played a schedule of the Atlantic Division, you have to go to the East Coast. UCLA ain't winning that division. USC ain't winning that division.
Why?
You're going to beat Louisville, Florida State, Clemson, all 3 of them.
Louisville.
On the road, you're going to beat Louisville. They got the quarterback back. They put up 60 points a game.
No, Florida State hasn't been.
You're going to go to Florida State and win?
Clemson. That's it.
I'll give you
one for it. The other 2, no. No.
You ain't winning the Atlantic. Get out of here with that. The Atlantic Division is the second toughest division in NCAA football after the big SEC one.
Yeah, well, and Clemson didn't have that great a year this year as they did in the past. But you know what? No, Clemson, I agree with you. And lately, for years,
the Atlantic Division is the second best division in college football. I challenge anyone to claim another division within a conference is better than the SEC one. SEC, what is the East, the West, that juggernaut conference?
Well, that's SEC.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the Big
It's the
Ten.
East, right? The East, the SEC monster.
We pick
one of them is like Alabama and everybody else. The other one is the one that has, LSU, a couple other teams, right?
Well, we've been saying this for a while that the Big Ten, especially in basketball, is definitely overrated. And I told you Ohio State wasn't as good.
And now they'll be better with you guys there.
Take them out. But you know what? I think the SEC is the powerful. I don't think the ACC is nearly as powerful. Outside of Clemson, no, I don't. And can UCLA go in there and take them? Yeah, I think they could. Depending on the year and the situation. Yeah, I do. And SC.
The Big Ten wasn't that much better than the ACC.
5-star.
Big Ten was a little bit better than the ACC.
I guarantee if they went there, they'd be in first place, SC. Yes, they would. And I hate them, I'm telling you that. But yeah. I don't believe in the Southeast teams, most of them. Some of them are legit. Some of them are unbelievable. But as a rule, I don't really take them too serious. But, I understand what you're saying.
It's again, you and I, we could be wrong about every damn thing we said. We just don't know what's going to happen. But it's exciting. It's changing. And if I'm a UCLA guy like you, Bob, I'm feeling pretty good about my position in the hierarchy because you've just cemented your future.
I wonder how the basketball team's going to, you know what?
Remember, Cronin coached in Cincinnati. He's, if he has to go to the Midwest, I mean.
That's true. He'll be getting, we'll be getting players from, right. Because they'll be going home to play in front of their family, depending on who we play.
You guys are going to be right at the top of that basketball league. No doubt.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think if we join with the basketball, and we're going to, that Michigan and Ohio State are going to take the hit. We're not. Yeah, Michigan State's going to take a bit of a hit because we're going to be there because we're getting players again. You know what I'm saying?
I think Michigan State's. I think they're going to struggle for a while in their major sports.
Right.
Izzo. The sands of time are passing. They lost Antonio. That guy had a great run out of the gate, but then they flamed out. I don't know about Michigan State for a while. It could be a rocky couple years for them. And now they got to compete with you guys and USC.
That's what I'm saying.
Michigan State is in the worst possible position to be potentially looking at a mediocre spell with two juggernauts coming through the door.
Right. No, I don't think we're going to be hurting basketball at all. And in football, who knows? Maybe we'll steal a few of those players from those other teams because now we're there. And we are California.
I mean,
like you said,
football
Rob,
you might come out guns blazing.
Yeah, right.
You could be high. You guys are good. Right. I like Chip Kelly.
Right, and you're right. That's a big comp. Well, we got a big conference too, but they're going to make more money. So
they're going to make more money. Yeah.
Right.
Just don't do something hasty like fire Kelly if the first you only win like 8 games or something. Okay.
Right.
So your old coach is coaching UConn, by the way.
Which are you talking about? Alford?
Jim Mora.
Oh, Mora. Okay. I was thinking basketball. Yeah. I wish him a lot of luck.
He's gonna need it. Isn't he a West Coast guy?
He is, and he's a hard guy. He's tough. I don't know if the kids are gonna.
I don't know if he's gonna. He had his recruiting chops at UCLA. I don't know if he's gonna be.
He's not gonna get those kind of players at Connecticut. I can tell you that.
I don't know. He's not gonna be able to recruit the West Coast is hard.
Right. He's not gonna be. No.
Look, UConn made a calculated move. They sacrificed their football program for their basketball team.
But you know what? At the end of the day, even though people have tampered in, like. My brother will still say to me on the phone, UCLA is still basketball, SC still football. Connecticut's still basketball. What you are is probably what you're going to be. So, you'll dabble with the other sport and try to get good at it. But at the end of the day, people are still looking at you like, oh, that's a football school. Oh, that's a basketball school. And that's pretty much right. It happens. And I got 3 text messages about the NBA, and I'll tell you what they are.
Then we're gonna have to wrap it up, my friend.
Okay. Kevin Durant's decision to request a trade was the Warrior winning championship. Okay, that's a lot. Gallinari wants the Boston Celtics. The Lakers are trying to trade Russell Westbrook to the Nets for Kyrie. They're working on that. And the Nets don't care about what Kyrie wants. So they're not going to accommodate him. But if any Celtic is watching, hey, just trade the back half of the team and Marcus Smart. Let's get KD, because one thing about that, he's better than anything we got, and he's the guy to he'll put us over. He's better than even Durant and Tatum. He is. I'm up to Tatum, Durant. He's better than Brown and Tatum. He is. So I would do it.
And I just like to say, Bob, we talked about your team, the Celtics. I just want to say to the Orlando Magic management ownership, do you guys even care about winning? Seriously, dead serious question. Or are you just content with being the tourist team, the team that, everyone else goes and watches their team play against when they're in town? Because I how many games did Orlando win last year, Bob? Like 10 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Some insane thing.
Right.
Okay. Magic fans, don't go to the games anymore. Stop supporting this crap. This is nonsense. They don't want to win. There's no evidence to support that they actually are going to put effort into putting a winning franchise in place. They are
Well,
content
you know what's funny,
with
Rob?
tickets at the gate.
Thing that happened
When
to
the
you was
Knicks
you
come and play,
expansion.
they'll get all the New Yorkers come in. When the Chicago Bulls can play, to get all the Midwesterners come in. And you just are a joke, okay? Magic fans, stop supporting this program until they want to win. That's how you get the way to get your team to win as a pro team and college. You hit them in the wallet. Stop supporting teams that don't want to win if you want your team to win.
I think the best thing that happened to
Syracuse put 150 million plus into the dome. They want to win. So I'm here.
Well, I think the best thing that happened to you guys were you were an expansion at the right time, and Shaq came out of college at the right time, and you got him. But even when you got him, my brother told me on the first day, he goes, they'll have him for a while, but they won't keep him. The Lakers will get him. Jerry West will steal him away. My brother told me that years before he did it. And you know what? He did it. So
well, it was kind of magic because they used that little random ball, right?
Right.
And the Magic won the lottery twice in a row.
Right. Right. And you guys went to the championship, but you did not win it.
They
right?
lost to Elijah Wan, the Rockets.
Elijah Wan, right? 4 straight, actually, I think.
You know, except for the Dwight Howard episode, which, you know, again, they let him go again.
Right.
With Stan Van Gundy. I just haven't, in the last 10 years, I haven't seen a willingness to win.
No.
And if there is a willingness to win,
you know,
then
it's like
maybe the office needs to be clean slated because there's incompetence going on.
Rob, the bottom line is what Barkley said was right. Most of the players stink in the league. And there's too many teams, and most of them don't have money.
There's no reason why Orlando can't attract top talent. It's Orlando. Okay. You can go to Boston and freeze your ass off all winter, or you can come to Orlando. Bring the kids.
Yeah, but we're the Celtics, dude.
Exactly. That's the problem. But that's an advantage that if the franchise wants to win, they could use. But I don't think they want to.
Oh, that's a good PR ploy, sure. But you know
why,
what?
Why isn't Orlando courting Kevin Durant? Why aren't they Kevin? Come on. Sunshine.
And you know what? You got to remember too, the stars in the league already don't want to play on bad teams anymore. In the old days,
that's another thing. You basically have to entice a group of players to form a super team for you.
Yeah, because they won't. And that's even making it more worse because on one hand, you got the owners who don't care. There's too many of those. And then you got the spoiled players who just want to play on a stars team. So that's really even making in the NBA's history, only a few teams have ever really won the thing. If you look back at the list, but like, because of all this, it's even making it worse, you know, where a lot of teams just stink. I told you, Rob, there's too many teams in the league. I said that a long time ago. In every league, in every sport, there's just too many teams. And they want to keep expanding, which I don't get. You know, I mean, it's stupid. It's always stupid. But
times they are a changing, Bob. That's the name of the game. But stay tuned, folks. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, we got a big show, and I'm working on it now. I went down to the golf course, and I talked to this guy. He wants to do it. He asked me at first what day. I wasn't sure what day. But I let him know the other day. He didn't get back yet. But I'm going to hound him all week. And he's going to get us on Greg Nettles, the Yankees, Goose Gossage eventually. He's got some millionaires coming on. We got a lot. He knows Brian Cashman. He's very well connected. And I think we're going to do one from the golf course, at least from my side. Rob's going to do it from New York from his side. But
all right, special episode live from the Country Club, Bob. You're in?
Yes, hopefully. I'm working on it.
Bring that computer. We'll make it happen. Stay tuned, share, like, and subscribe, folks. We'll be back here on the Sports Show with Bob.